Oh, hello there, how are you doing? We can praise ourselves quite lucky with all the great Mario content releasing over the years. From main titles to spin-offs. From epic adventures to sport games. And along those journeys, our main man Mario has brought along many new friends and enemies. Some of which were there at the beginning, and others that only showed their face once. And we all have our favorites. I'm always a big fan of the evil mustache baddies Wario and Waluigi. Or what about all the babies that just give those adventures a fun little twist? But sometimes we aren't so lucky with these characters. What about the guys that we used to love but just suddenly disappeared? If you have been going on Mario adventures for a long time, I'm sure you have some of them as well in your mind. Those awesome guys and girls that you have come to love over one or multiple games that are suddenly just gone. Or maybe just an enemy that you really like the design of, only for that baddie to never be used again. A shame. A goddamn shame. So let's talk about these guys today. If you have any favorites that you really miss and that you want to see back one day in a Mario game, be sure to let me know in the comments, as I'm curious who you will pick. But for now, let me show you my 5 favorites that I think deserve to come back one day in a future Mario adventure. Let's go! You know, Super Mario Bros. 2 is one of those weird games. As you probably know, and as I have often talked about on this channel, it wasn't supposed to be a Mario game. It was an already finished game called Doki Doki Panic that got transformed into a Mario game. The characters and some of the enemies changed, but some of them stayed completely the same. And the funny part is that while those enemies might originally were Doki Doki characters, they are now fan favorite Mario creatures that we still see to this day. Like the Shy Guys and Birdo, who all debuted in Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, unfortunately, not everybody in that game got that same royalty treatment, as some creatures stayed anchored in that world, while others got along for a small part of the Mario ride but disappeared as well eventually. And one of those beings that I would love to see again is Mauser, one of the mini-boss enemies from Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, before I explain why, I know there are many of you, including me, who would also love to see War to return, who was a mini-boss as well. But as he still had a small cameo in Link's Awakening, I decided to talk about Mauser, just to show him some more love too. Mauser is cool. And how can you tell he's cool? Because he wears sunglasses, of course, like every cool guy there is. You would get to fight him twice in the game. And he likes to make things more difficult by throwing bombs at you, which luckily is also his own weakness. So just throw those bad boys back. He would appear later from time to time in other Mario projects. He even had a pretty big part in the Super Mario Bros. Show, but after that we wouldn't see him anymore that often. He did, however, appear as a spirit in Smash Ultimate, which will be the case for more characters in this list. But I don't really count that as an appearance. I would like to see him back, maybe in a spin-off or once again as a mini-boss, perhaps in a Mario Odyssey sequel. We already have some sharp-teethed boys and girls in there with the Brutals, so he could fit perfectly in there as well. You know what? I like Toads. The mushroom ones, not the ones with the long tongue. But they look mostly the same, except for a couple of them, who had some distinct features. And one of them had one of those best features of all, a freaking mustache. Yes, I'm talking about Toadsworth. This 60-year-old elderly toad is a great guy. He looks after the princess and other toads, and has a great sense of responsibility. A real breath of fresh air as a new character, introduced in Super Mario Sunshine. I know there have been some other toads with distinct features before, but it's great to see one with a higher ranking trying to work with Mario to solve all kinds of different problems. Although he didn't really do that much at the same time. After Sunshine, he would make many more appearances in multiple projects. He had a substantial role in the Mario and Luigi games, and in Partners in Time, we even got to see him as a much younger guy. Look at that handsome beast! After that, he would fulfill a more supporting role in games, like driving you around as the winner in Double Dash, or being a referee in Mario Tennis Power Tour. The last time we got to see him was in the 2005 game Super Princess Peach, where he would accompany the princess on a stroll. But yes, also he could be found in Smash games, as a sticker in Brawl, a trophy in Smash Wii U, and of course, a spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I think Peach could use this handy toad to take some work off her hands again, and I hope we get to see him return one day. It's always great to hear that everybody has a different Mario game that they started out on. It might be the original, Super Mario World, 64, Galaxy, New Super Mario Bros., whatever. There are a lot of possibilities. And you know what? All those options are really good. Every game is special in its own way, you know. But for me, it wasn't any of those games. No, my adventure began on the original Game Boy with Super Mario Land. Something that not everybody has played, I guess, because you don't hear people talk often about this game. But I love it. Sarasa Land was a great place, and I would really love to see it back in a new Mario project one day. I mean, it's the place where Daisy is from, for God's sake. But okay, if we can't visit the place, why not bring the most evil bad guy from that game back to the Mario universe? Which is the Tanga, who is an alien that's not even from Sarasa Land himself. All the enemies that you encounter aren't actually baddies. At least not the mini-bosses. These are just guardians of the land that have been hypnotized by the Tanga to attack Mario while he tries to take Daisy away to his own planet. At the end of the game you have to fight him yourself in an epic battle in the sky, in a cutesy little plane. In the sequel Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins, the alien boy would reappear, only this time not as the big boss, but as a downgraded mini-boss. He took the part as a henchman for Wario, to take revenge on our hero Mario because he ruined his plans to marry Daisy. Which would be some solid reasoning. And that's the last time we would see him in a video game besides some vague references. And yes, you guessed it, as a spirit in Super Smash Ultimate. He would however reappear in some comics and mangas though. He's a fun little creature. And hopefully together with Sarasa Land, we will see him and that classic world back someday soon. Look, we all know what the deal is when it comes to Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. There is one character that everybody loves and wants to see return. Geno. I mean, the support has been more than evident, with a lot of people pleading for him to make a return in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, with a high position on fan ballots and just a lot of posts on Reddit and Twitter in general. And I do agree, he is a cool, unique character that really deserves some more love these days. Especially now we can see that he is still a favorite among fans. But what about another guy from Super Mario RPG? Your very first buddy and partner that you encounter. Mallow. I mean, come on, he deserves some love too, right? I know he isn't such a cool, smooth dude, but that doesn't take away that he is an interesting little guy. That would be cool to see return in an upgraded version, in a new Mario game perhaps. Mallow is a tadpole, or at least he says he is. If you played the game, you know what's up. In the beginning he might seem a bit sad, crying all the time, and because of that making it rain, which already suggests that he's actually quite powerful. He isn't the strongest physical fighter, but he doesn't shy away from using some good old magic. And is very proficient in doing so. He is a trusty companion throughout the Super Mario RPG adventure, and great for some comedy relief. But sadly, after that game, he could never be seen again, as that is the only thing he would ever appear in. Oh no, wait, I forgot one thing. Yep, once again, spirits. I think Nintendo is beginning to notice these missing characters, with all them spirits being included. Well, at least you can still look at his shiny PNG in Ultimate. And lastly, let's go to a guy that has been really done wrong in my opinion. One that was on its way to become a staple in the Mario franchise, but got swapped out for another character with a similar appearance and role within the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm talking about Koopa Kid, which you might also know as Mini Bowser or even Baby Bowser. First appearing in the original Mario Party, he would gain a bigger and bigger role as the franchise moved on. Now, in the beginning, multiple Koopa Kids were to be found, and it was implied that there were just more of him in general. I don't know if they were supposed to be some Bowser clone babies or actually his own kids, but they would function as his henchmen, doing everything that their boss or daddy told them to do. And then, his role expanded as time moved on, with him stealing coins, having an item shop, and eventually becoming a playable character in Mario Party 5 and 6. Which I loved, as I often played as him in Mario Party 5. I've really grown to love him in that way. After that he would become more of his own character and not so much just one of many clones. He would reappear in Mario Party 7, but he wasn't playable anymore, slowly beginning to fall into obscurity. And as we all know, The henchman, baby-like role has now gone to Mauser Jr., who of course is also a fun character with a goofy personality. But for some reason I just always loved Koopa Kid's design slightly more. I know, I'm sorry, it's probably an unpopular opinion, but as a big fan of Mario Party 5, I have to speak up here. After Party 7, he would never be seen again, apart from some fake references in Mario Party 100. And here comes the real shocker. Are you ready? There is no spirit of him in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Finally, we have one that really seems to be forgotten. Look, I don't ever expect him to come back, as his role is now given to someone else. But if they would ever make a new Mario Party, which is of the same quality as Party 5 or one of those classics, just bring him back for good measure. Give him his own shop again, or let him chill in the background. Anything to give this classic boy some more love. So here we are, 5 beings from the Super Mario universe that disappeared from the radar that could really do with a return. And hopefully they will. By including them in some game on the Nintendo Switch, there are many ways how they could bring old fan favorites back to life. Maybe a minigame in Mario Party, or as a playable character somewhere. Or what about a cameo appearance in Super Mario Odyssey 2, which will totally happen somewhere in the future. But now, my friend, I want to throw it to you. Are there characters that you have been missing from this universe? Maybe a couple of them? Let me know in the comments in your top 5 as well, as I'm really curious who those guys are that you want to see return. And if you are still here and enjoyed this video, why not subscribe to the Expref channel? There is a lot of Nintendo content to be found, like videos about Smash. And many more projects are on the way based on upcoming Nintendo games, like the new Animal Crossing and Breath of the Wild too. So support your boy and subscribe to the channel. If you want to leave a like for me, then that also really helps me out. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.